to In Deep, a podcast by Laura Eniver
and myself, Flick Parmentier. Join us as we dive deep into what it takes to break the mould and have the courage to step into the unknown.
because we're all certain to get stuck in some deep shit along the way. Welcome back, everybody.
Here we are.
What's up with that voice that I do? Welcome back.
You're excited.
I am excited.
Yeah.
We're working on a Saturday.
Look at us go.
Gotta squeeze it in. There's no Monday to Friday around here.
Nah, there's definitely not. Not with our schedules. Got to make do while we can.
What's been happening this week, Flick?
I got back from New Zealand.
Far out on this tour of yours. This show looks like the biggest fucking dream of all time.
Yeah.
How can you actually call it working?
It definitely doesn't feel it's crazy. Like I went over there. It was the second international shoot for this show that I'm hosting, and went to Queenstown. I'd been there before on a Billabong shoot years ago for like a day, but I don't remember it really. And it was cool to go back, and we just fit so much into the 5 days. It was crazy.
Wow.
We did so many different activities that I never would have done myself if I booked a trip to Queenstown. You know, like I would have maybe gone to the wineries, gone to the restaurants, a little bit of snowboarding if it was like during winter, but I never would have done half the shit that we did on this trip. So it was really cool. I'm pretty exhausted, I will say that much, especially after Fiji.
You didn't get sunburned, did you?
Definitely didn't get sunburned in New Zealand, that's for sure. I was just really happy on that trip because it was our second one away together as a team. So the 4 guys I'm working with obviously have so much experience. Grant Denyer won a gold Logie, say no more. We got Miguel, who is celebrity chef. He's incredible. He's Spanish. He's got so much energy. We've got Tom Williams, who won Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, cool.
And Tom has been like long time, I think, like sports commentator, host, I think for Channel 7. And then we've got Rob Palmer, who is like your Better Homes and Gardens, your Australian carpenter who will build that house, who will build that cubby house. Going into this, I was really intimidated because you're working with people with such big profiles, and I wasn't sure on, like how well I was going to be welcomed, I guess.
It's intimidating.
Yeah, it was intimidating. And I think it's been refreshing to be so like championed in a way and like brought in as part of the team. Not that I didn't think they would be friendly like that or anything, but I just is nice to, because it's a male-dominated workspace. I'm the only female in a crew of 15.
Wow.
So the hosts have just been particularly good at making me feel very welcome and safe and connected in the group.
What legends. I know. Yeah. Men uplifting women. Let's go. We love that.
Yes, we do. What about you, Siso? What's the last week been like?
Well, it's been a bit of a slow week. Yeah, I've just been home now and just sort of chilling. I have signed up for a marathon, which is super exciting. It's in June, but I haven't actually been for a run yet.
Surprise, surprise, everyone.
Well, I've been running on the beach. I've done about 2K on the beach a couple of times, but just because of my injury, the physio was like, fuck, running is probably the worst thing that you could do for your recovery. No. So I haven't been running, but now it's like my leg's getting better, like my body's feeling good. So I went and bought some new sporty running shoes from the mall the other day.
Yeah, she did.
And I went for my first run yesterday, and fuck me, it was hard. Oh my God, I went 2.5K and I took chili the sausage dog, and we went up the stairs and around the headland, and wow, I was dying. I think I need to get a good playlist from you. I need to get some good mental strength, but I'm going basically. The marathon that I've signed up for, it's going to be in Africa in June, and it's to raise money for brain cancer. And so I've got a fundraising page. It's on Carrie's Beanies for Brain Cancer. We've got a whole team led by Carrie Bickmore, and my friend Elodie's going as well. She's the one that kind of roped me in. The giraffe, but I'm like, holy shit, man. She's got
the natural born runner instinct in her, doesn't she?
I know. She's already going for 10K runs. And
I know, I've seen it. I've been like, Laura, your mate Elodie's running 10Ks already.
I literally voice noted her yesterday. I was like, nah, this is gnarly. What do I do? How do I get better? But I'm just going to have to go running every day, and I think just try to get 5% better a day. Yeah. I think just yesterday I went 2.7Ks, and then I just need to go up to 3, and then just go slowly. Otherwise, anyway, so.
How long until you go?
So it's June 14th, the marathon. So what are we now?
April, May. You've got over months. 10 weeks.
Okay.
You're styling. You're styling.
Any tips? Because you love a good run. You do 5K most days, hey?
Yeah, I love running a 5K. 10 would be my absolute limit. Like I don't enjoy like the really, really long stuff, but I just love the feeling afterwards. And once you get in the like rhythm of a good playlist and you've been doing it consistently for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, and it doesn't feel like, oh my God, this is a struggle. What the hell is happening in my body? Because when you first start, when I haven't been running for a while and I get back into it, I'm like, holy shit.
It's gnarly, hey? It's
the cardiovascular.
It's not like riding a bike. It's
definitely not.
Fucking hell. Oh my God. I think I need someone chasing me.
Yeah. Don't worry, there'll be lions chasing you in Africa, sis. Maybe you'll run faster.
Yeah, I'm like, there'll be some sort of animals chasing me. I think we need to even take like lion whistles and stuff. I'm like, far out. This is
that's kind of gnarly.
Scary. Elodie was like, I was like, what about the lions? She's like, shut up, Laura. You surf with sharks every fucking day. I'm like,
It's true.
Yeah, but I don't know, a lion. But should we get into the woos and boos of the week?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, my woo of the week, which was also what I did this week, I went to Urban Surf the Wave Pool and I took my like proper surfboard, wasn't just the soft top, and I went surfing and I was doing turns and my knee didn't hurt and it was
my God.
Like my first proper surf back.
You're kidding me.
I got so fucking excited that I literally did 2 turns on a left-hander out Urban Surf, came in and booked a flight to Fiji next week to go surf a swell.
Hey,
because I'm a psycho and I just
back.
can't. Yeah,
she's back.
I saw this swell and the winds looked amazing. You can't come, which I'm devoted about.
I know.
Fiji. We fucking love Fiji, don't we?
I've just worked too much and then also I'm about to work again.
How much did we talk about Fiji last
Fiji's amazing. But no, I've just worked a lot where I'm like, you know what? As much as I want to go, I surfed at like a very similar swell when I was there. And my body at the moment's saying you need
rest.
I need rest. As much as I want to come, I'm like, you just need to listen to yourself for a second.
But yeah, how's me? Literally did 2 turns, like got in and then it was just like booked the flights. Yeah. I was like, let's just like put some WD-40 on there, like and then get out there and then so now we're going to Fiji for a swell next week and I'm feeling very much back. So that is the woo of the week.
What's your boo?
Boo of the week is poor little Ziggy here, darling, had to get 21 teeth extracted. I was like,
he's a little gummy shark.
I'm like, how many more teeth does he have left?
Poor little Zig.
I know, poor guy.
He's very out of it.
Yeah, he's very floppy and a bit sad. But he's actually pretty stoked because I've been getting him like organic free-range chicken.
Oh, he's getting the best ever.
Yeah,
you're cooking better for your dog than what you are for me.
For me.
So my woo is just being back here and for the last 2 days since New Zealand and finally doing exercise and doing things for myself. As much as I love my new job, we don't have time for anything else. At all.
Yeah.
And they're like 15-hour days and they're long and I'm mentally, physically, emotionally a bit zapped and I'm the person who works out every single day and I do that for my own mental health. And the last 2 days I've got up, I've gone for a walk, a run and a surf.
Fun.
All before 7:30 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm a psycho. I'm back on my psycho train.
Wow. No, that must feel good.
The boo of the week is what happened in New Zealand, and I've never had one of these before in my life, really, to this extent, is I had a panic attack.
Wow.
Because...
Did you need a paper bag?
They tried to make me do a bungee.
No way. Bungee.
I hate heights.
Hey, bungee, even for me, that scares the shit out of me.
I'm like, hang on a second. This show's centered around water. What the fuck does a bungee have to do with water? I'm struggling to fucking see it.
There's a body of water at the bottom.
Yeah, fuck. So we get to this bungee and all the crew, I was like, okay, I actually thought throughout the whole week, it was always scheduled in the run sheet on the last day as the last activity. And I was like, nah, I've got this. Like, I'm really good at exposure
I'm a big
therapy.
wave surfer.
Yeah, well, I knew I've always hated heights my whole life, but I just thought, no, you're getting older and you're getting better with handling fear and like things you actually don't like to do. And then we rocked up to the bungee and I was just like, no, I don't really like this. And we started to walk out into the bridge and the boys, the other hosts, were giving me a lot of shit, as we all do. We all give each other shit in moments where we don't like things and you push people's buttons. And my buttons just got pushed in the wrong way and I got really aggressive and then I started really hyperventilating and like not well, like full cry, like just not happy with it, ran away off the bridge, couldn't be a part of the story. Like you couldn't even get me in the harness. You couldn't even get me on the bridge.
Wow.
Like I was
this is a
not
proper
well.
meltdown.
Proper meltdown. And the thing is like, they're like, yeah, but you surf big waves. And I'm like, but big waves, I've worked up my whole life. I surfed a wave that was 1 foot, then 2 foot, then 3 foot, then 4 foot, 10 foot, 15 foot, 30 foot.
Yeah.
I don't fucking just wake up one day and decide, I'm going to jump off a 40-foot bridge. Like, you know what I mean? Like, stop making me do things I don't want to do. So I'm getting sweat. I've got sweaty palms talking about it.
Shit, this has really affected you. We need to go do some healing. I need to sage you.
So?
Holy crap. I cannot. I really hope they filmed this because I need to see you actually have a fucking meltdown on national
really
TV.
aggressive too.
Why do I want to see you meltdown on national TV?
So anyway, that's the boo.
They filmed you, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be fucking gnarly.
I was just not myself. Like, I was doing things that were not okay. Like, I mocked the instructor.
Like how?
was like,
how?
oh, she goes, oh, so you're a bit nervous, are you? And I was like, oh, so you're a bit nervous, are you? Like, oh, this is going to be a funny one. Oh, this is going to be a funny one. Like, who am I? I turned into
The devil.
Yeah, I was a different kind of person. I was like,
Well,
I don't know this person right now.
someone came out of you that was just like, this is not it.
Don't you
My
dare.
lines have been crossed in every way. You must have felt so out of control that you were just like, fuck everyone.
Everyone has a limit, and I found my limit.
We'll put that one to bed. Can't wait to watch that episode. It's going to be my fucking favourite thing ever. It's going to be my favourite thing ever. I'm actually mocking myself. I got to stop.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so today's episode, we've had it on our little schedule for a long time. It keeps kind of getting pushed back and pushed back. It's like the most asked question, and it just, you know, whenever we do a question, there's like 50 people just going, is Flick still married? What happened? You know, just people obviously want to know your story, and you've lightly touched on it that you are separated and you're ready to talk about your experience. And yeah, should we take it away?
Yeah, let's take it away. I think, we've touched on it throughout the first season, like bits here and there. But it's taken me a while to sit with it and be like, when am I actually okay to talk about this? And I always knew there would be a time because I think there's a lot of powerful lessons that I've learned over the last year that I want to share with people, because I think there's something to be said about really listening to your gut, and especially at such a difficult stage in my life, being late 20s, early 30s, and biologically and everyone else around me telling me to stay when I was like, no. So I think there's a lot of goodness to come from this episode. Like, obviously I waited a while to talk about it so I could talk about it freely without getting too emotional about it. So that time apart has really helped. And I've kind of been able to really nut out what I wanted to say and, like, I guess the reasons as to why it broke down and what I did to get through it, and then I guess where I'm at now.
Yeah. Because I mean, fuck. I guess divorce wasn't on your bingo card, as you say. But, you know, such is life. And I've had so many really close friends that have, you know, been through marriage breakdowns, and, you know, a lot of them have actually happened within that first year of marriage. And I mean, I guess, far out, where should we even start? Like, do you want to go back to the start, or do you want to go back to...
I think the start, like, so I guess like a little bit of background on the relationship was it was COVID and I'd moved back to Western Australia. It was 2020 and that's when we first got together. And, you know, during that time I was a very different person because we'd touched on it last season, but I had lost my major sponsor at that time. I didn't know what the future held in terms of work, where I would be living. And at that point I was like, well, what's even going to happen with COVID? Like, is the world going to open back up again? It was a really scary time.
Totally. No one knew it was going to happen.
And it was scary. And so I moved back and I got into this relationship and I thought, okay, like, this is good. I'm back home in Western Australia. I was a very different person back then. And
you'd actually just come out of like another 10-year relationship as well, which ended pretty horrible. You were just like fresh start back in WA, and it just like it feels like you got swept off your feet and everything was like really beautiful at the start.
Oh, 100%. Like, I wouldn't have married the bloke if I didn't think there was something there. But 100% in the beginning, it was, obviously like most relationships, it's great. And then...
Could you take us through like what your life was back then during COVID?
Yeah, well, basically COVID during that time, I mean, I lost my job. I was surf coaching a bit for my cousin. That's about it. That's how I was making my income. And I was making very minimal money and, it was a good time. So I was like happy with that and surfing a lot, cooking a lot and just like getting domesticated,
Which is kind of like we never really have had in our lives, just being in one spot for a certain amount of time and actually just going like, oh my God, like waking up and just having like a really normal sort of like having that experience of a normal life.
Routine.
Yeah, routine and everything. It would have been like, I remember feeling like COVID was nice in that way, veggie gardens and actually doing like having time to do these other things, which would have been so nice.
Yeah. It was 2022 that we got engaged.
Because it felt like you guys, your relationship was very like just, it was fireworks, that, you guys fell head over heels really quickly and like from the outside looking in, you seemed so happy and, had found just like a little adventure buddy and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we were definitely happy. So we were together in 2020, engaged at the end of 2022 in October, and then 5 months later, getting married in March of 2023.
That is fast.
Super fast, but also the older you get in life and the older you get into relationships, I think they do move faster because like you're starting to think about kids, you're starting to think, and I married someone, so it's not a surprise, and we had a big age gap between us. And I think that also played into my mind as well. And just the stage that I was in life, like I think naturally these kind of conversations come up and like naturally, I just don't think you have time to fuck around. Do you know what I mean? Like the older you get, and I think whether that be society telling you like, oh, you need to hurry up and also biologically as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were married in March of 2023. And
beautiful wedding.
Yeah, it was a great wedding. Look, the wedding was epic. I don't regret that wedding at all.
Did you have any idea before you got married? Like, did you have any inkling?
Yeah.
Looking back now.
I look back now and hindsight's perfect science. It is 20/20 vision. And I look back and, my stress and my concerns were legitimate. But like anyone knows who plans a wedding, they are stressful and like they do.
And you're a bit love blind, Like,
you are. And also the thing is that because it was such a quick turnaround from being engaged to married of 5 months, that added an extra stress of wedding prep as well and planning. And I was taking on a lot of that myself. Because of that, I think I just put down red flags, so to say, or things that were not going right in the relationship down to the stress of the wedding and the planning of it itself, not necessarily. And I think I was so like, holy shit, like weddings are a big commitment, like in terms of, because it was only 5 months, we had family flying interstate, we had people coming from different parts of the world, we had 140 people coming to this wedding and it was all planned within 5 months. It was,
Dude, I don't know how you did that. Did your head not explode?
Yeah, well, very stressful as well and financially a big investment. And you're thinking, oh, the stress has to be the wedding. Like, and maybe I was kind of telling myself that when deep down I really knew that there were things that I was like, I don't know about this. But at the time I just put it down to the wedding and the stress of it.
Yeah,
and
totally understandable.
We got married and just after a year we were separated. And it's so funny. I'm like, Alyssa lasted longer than Kimi Kardashian.
How long did she last?
Fucking 72 days.
Oh, really?
Oh, but no, I think it was so hard, right? Like we got married and I don't think I've ever fought more in my life like that. Our communication was really not good and our conflict resolution was terrible.
And do you feel like a lot of this, I mean, not speaking out, but, after you guys got married, the world opened up again. You know, you started big wave surfing again, you got a commentary role, you started traveling. Like you basically became your old self in a way again that was doing all these things. And, when you guys had fallen in love, you were living a very, very different life.
Yeah, that's completely it too. Like I think slowly my life did start to change and obviously that wasn't sitting right. And I've always been someone who is never not going to chase what I want.
Yeah. You're a go-getter.
Yeah, but
And you cook a fucking good steak, but
thank you.
You don't.
Thank you. I will be a great wife one day.
We need you out and about crying on the top of bungee jumps, going.
But no, I really think it was definitely that. It was definitely that part. That was, the world was opening up. My life was changing. The dynamic in the relationship was obviously changing, but more than ever, I just did not feel supported in anything that I was doing. And also I just felt like our conflict resolution wasn't very good. Yeah. And throughout that whole next year of being married, I just thought how many times, like secretly, there was only a few people in my life that knew really what was going on, because when you're married or in long-term relationships, people know that you don't necessarily air your dirty laundry out to every Joe Blow, because in the end, if things work out, then your family member's going to be like, hang on a second, but you just roasted him for this, or this happened, or blah, blah, blah. So you don't really say all these things, right?
Keep things pretty close, like all
so throughout the
closed
year,
doors.
These certain things just kept popping up, and, you know, I'm thinking, how many times can I keep banging my head against a wall, or how many times can we keep trying here? And what is the amount of right time to try when you've made a serious commitment like this? And when do I start choosing myself first?
Totally.
And for me, the moment is the bad started outweighing the good.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't look back from that. And I didn't feel like my boundaries were respected, and I didn't feel supported. And after a whole year of trying, it wasn't like we didn't try, we tried.
Yeah.
And we went to therapy, we really, really tried to make it work. I decided to pull the pin. It's not like a sad story for me, because it's interesting, like I look at this as the biggest sign of strength in my life was to walk away from something that wasn't serving me anymore.
Totally. It's so powerful and so scary, like I seeing you go through this transformation and sort of find your power again. You know, what was the hardest? Can you pinpoint like the hardest, lowest time of it all?
I think the hardest, lowest time was definitely the moment, you know, when you've come to the realization as a couple that this isn't working anymore, and having, you know, lots of people knew that we were building a life together in Margaret River, and that I physically had to rip through that and take all my possessions out of there. And you're looking at this house that you've created together, that their decisions are together, that everything is together, and it's now not. Yeah. And you're so scared, and I didn't know what the future was going to hold as well, because I've never been really single for that long. Like you said at the start of the episode, I'm like a leapfrogger from relationship to relationship, and I didn't know what the future held, and that was incredibly terrifying. And I remember driving away with like everything, and the act of physically doing it, I think, took a big toll on me.
Yeah.
But
I remember we'd been over in Indonesia, and you were meant to be actually going with him, and you came on a trip with me, and I think it was just like really hitting. I remember we were like on the boat sailing out to the island, and you were like, oh my God, like I just can't believe, you know, that this is happening. But then you're like, at the same time, you just wanted to come and, you know, start healing. Like I guess, you know, you obviously just mentioned before having to pack your car and drive away. You know, you had to go move in with your brother. Like, what was your next steps after doing that?
So I guess like one other thing like that I wanted to touch on too is that I had, as a female in relationships, I think this happens a lot, we sort of come to the decision a long time before the actual conversation is had, right? Yeah. Because, well, I think I'd made the decision, and there were indicators. I dyed my hair red, you know, and people were thinking, hang on a sec here. Usually when females do big hair changes, something significant's happening in their life. Fast forward a few months later, and, you know, this had all happened. And I think I was slowly coming to the realisation of like, whoa, big change is happening. I want out. Like, I just knew. And I think that, like, next steps, obviously, I you know, moved out, and I moved in with my brother and his girlfriend. And I think it was very hard, because I think everyone that was close to me just assumed that this is just a funny thing that you guys are going through, and you're going to sort it out.
Yeah.
This is just temporary. This isn't going to be forever. They're going to get back together. They're married. They made the commitment. And I'm thinking, no. Like, this has been going on for a year. It's just that this is the first time you guys are hearing of it. So you're now reacting in a way that you know, the response I got, except from the people closest to me who knew the full story, was you need to stay in this relationship to make it work. You're 30 years old. Why are you getting divorced right now? You've made a commitment to this person. Yeah. And I'm thinking, holy shit, like, stop putting your, upbringing, your fears of my life and how it's going to pan out onto me. It hasn't been easy for me to come to this, and I just need your support right now. I don't need you to, and I literally had to say that to people I don't want to hear anymore. You're either supporting me or you're not, and we're not having a conversation about this anymore.
Yeah.
That is it.
I remember you saying, like, at probably like one of your lowest points, just like, you know, there was that sort of fear around people finding out.
Well, how is that perceived? You're married for a year. Like, that's not a good look. And like within society, right? Yeah. And the way that that's perceived, and is that a red flag on me? Or it's like, you know, how does that look? And then also within the media, like, our wedding was, when we got married, like, it was publicised. There were articles going out in the newspaper, in like the magazine foldouts in newspapers. There was news.com, there was Daily Telegraph, there was this, that and the other. There was like... I
mean, you had all like your Survivor you know, people there that were on the show, and I remember you just going like, far out, like, I remember we had this conversation and you're like, I'm like scared to tell everyone and just tell everyone that it failed and you know, it hasn't worked out. But I was like, there's nothing to ever be, you know, it's not a failure. You know, you're doing the best thing for you, and everyone is just wants your happiness in the end. You know, it's devastating it didn't work out the way I guess you planned, but then or you thought at the time. Yeah. But you know, I just had to keep reiterating to you, like, everyone's going to understand, love you, support you, and just, you know. But I guess it's like, that's why it's so hard to talk about and even put out there, because well, I think that's one of the biggest reasons that I wanted to even talk about this, because it's like I could have easily just not talked about it and moved on with life. But I just think there's something to be said about leaving something that is no longer serving you and something that's no longer good for you, and choosing yourself first, and just having the ovaries to do that. Because especially at this stage in life, I felt like there was just so much pressure, and I was going back and forth in my head of like, do I stay? Like, I've invested time into this. Like, I'm now in my 30s. Like, leaving a long relationship at my point in life is terrifying. Yeah. When all your friends are getting married and having babies around you, and like, and I felt in that moment that and I know this isn't true, because in so many other factors of my life, when I look at a broader picture of it, but I felt that I was a failure in terms of I was going backwards in life. Like, I was working towards all these things, the things that people say that you need to be doing. You know, you get the partner, you get the dog, you get the house, you get married, you have the kid, And I just felt like, oh my God, like, I've just moved back in with my brother, and like, and I just felt like I was going backwards. I'd moved in with my brother and his girlfriend, and turns out that was the best bloody thing that could have happened to me. But I felt a sense of like being defeated, and that like it wasn't... You really had to pick up and start again, you know, and you guys had like a really, you know, amicable split.
I think even when people looked at my relationship from the outside, like, obviously they knew that we had a big age gap, right? And I think a lot of the stereotype with that is, oh, she's obviously with him for the money. And it's like, hang on a second, like, we both had our own assets going into this, and we're amicable. The relationship previous to this one, I wasn't financially independent, and that ended up absolutely screwing me completely. And I stayed in a relationship that was incredibly toxic for 2 years too long, because I didn't feel confident enough to leave, and I felt like it was, you know, financial abuse. That's what it was. It was completely and utterly that. And anyway...
So heavy.
So I feel like I made a very big point. Like, I mean, it was what you said. It was either love or a lesson, and I learned a bloody big lesson, and that is
love or a lesson,
to be financially stable and independent. And because if anything was to ever happen again, I never wanted to find myself in a situation just staying in a relationship purely because of the financial situation. And so I felt it was one of the biggest things that I was so proud of myself for, because I knew I could leave at any point. And not that you go into a relationship being like, well, if I wanted to leave, I can, because that's not the intention. When we were together, you know, this isn't where I thought I would be in my 30s. Just like financially, just having job security and my own money paid into my own bank account. Sounds so simple, but it was not back in my last relationship.
Totally.
So just things like that. Like, I just... I've learned a lot, and I'm proud of myself for that, and I'm proud of not staying in something that I knew wasn't making me happy.
Moving in with your brother, that would have been also so fun because, you know, you guys had a cool little family unit. You had the dog, and it was a good little place for you to just regather and make your next steps. And, you know,
the move in with him, like I said before, I felt like I was going backwards, but really it was the best thing that could have happened to me. When I think back to the best times in my life, it was when I was growing up with my brothers and also Kiara when we were all kids, and we used to just play on the street together and just like constant banter, just poking each other and like making fun of each other, playing, being stupid. And some of the best moments of my life is when I go and train with my brother, and we just have a good relationship. And so it just really enforced that because I was definitely low. And I think when I think of really important things to do coming out of a breakup, it is like obviously surrounding yourself with the people that make you feel the best and like remind you of those times.
Totally. And that was the question I was going to ask. Like, what were the things and like your sort of non-negotiables you felt like you had to do to get you out of that low point?
Yeah. So one, definitely the support with the brother, and my family, you know, were all very good. Then I think second of all, obviously just going back to the basics. Nutrition, hydration, and some movement.
Totally.
Seriously, because
keep
it's
that
so
mental health and physical health going.
It's so basic, but it was just so true. Like every morning, you know, I'd get up, I'd go for a walk with my brother and his girlfriend and our dog, Java, our dog. And we'd walk the dog we'd have coffee, we'd talk some shit, we'd take the dog for a walk.
So fun.
And then I'd hang out with Java all day, and like we'd go about doing our daily business. So I had a little sidekick in the form of a furry friend. And then the movement, like every day I'd be training in the gym with my brother's girlfriend, Georgia, or, you know, something with Luke as well. And then, so the movement thing was big. And I got back into surfing a lot more. Like
nice.
Like we always, obviously we go charge these big waves, but we're very busy doing other obligations. And sometimes we forget to do the thing that makes us the most happy.
Yeah, totally.
And
then also like, I feel like you like just threw yourself into some work as well.
Yeah.
You're like, let's get busy. Let's get, you know, I feel like you were just like, this is the time for me. Like, I don't even want to think about boys right now. I just literally want to dive into work, and it's like you just worked as hard as you ever really have.
Yeah, exactly. I think I was limiting myself in my last relationship when it came to work as well. And I was like, no, this is me time and I'm going to say yes. And so I said it to you. I was like, this year is my work year. This is my change year. So also one of the biggest things coming into this breakup for me, and this is just true to my life story, but was perception, because I've probably been through I could list maybe 5 things in my life that I don't have control over that have been a lot worse than this. And I had control over this situation and the power was in my hands to leave. Whereas other moments in my life, I don't have control. So this, in some weird way, it gave me perspective, and it's made things, okay, you have the control here to make change. Totally. You can't worry about something you can't change, but you can worry about something you can change.
Exactly.
And so
focus on what you can change and what you can control, because everything else is, you know, we don't have control over so many aspects of life and people. So it's like,
I'm not minimizing my situation, because going through a separation and a breakup is not easy, but I'm just saying that when it comes to other aspects of my life and other things going on in my family, that's more important to me.
Yeah.
Like,
you've always said to me, you base your happiness off your relationships, and that's one of the biggest pillars in your life. Yeah, I guess with like your family history, health-wise, and you've chatted about it in the podcast before, you know, you have always been someone that's like, you know, I don't know how much time I have. I'm going to fucking go out there and live my life to the fullest, and this isn't serving me anymore.
Exactly. And like, what am I going to live out the rest of my life being not happy? Like I said it in, I think it was the second episode where we went into my backstory, but the quality of my life is determined by the quality of my relationships. Yeah. And it was not well.
I've got a few questions. So, okay, what was the biggest fear leaving?
Biggest fear leaving is that I would never find someone again at this stage in my life, and that all the good ones are gone.
Oh, that's
and
really scary. That's not true though. It's big fish of sea. A big fish of sea. A big sea of fish.
Yeah, like it's a scary
Big
thought.
ones, small ones, slippery ones,
And then
dead ones.
also, obviously, how it's perceived to everyone else. But at the end of the day, I'm like, hey, the only people's opinions that matter are the people that are closest to you.
Exactly. Other people's opinions of us do not matter.
Yes.
Fuck them off. Fuck them right off. Except for our listeners. We love you guys. So send in all the questions. So how did you feel your identity shift after this?
That's
Or
weird.
did you have to, like, obviously you dyed your hair red, but did you have a sense of like, let's rebuild, let's re-go? And
Well, in another way of like extreme things to do when you've just gone through a breakup, I fucking moved state. I was like, get me out of that joint.
dyed your hair red, got a whole new wardrobe,
Got a whole new job.
got a whole new apartment,
Yeah.
and got a whole new
Guys,
spot to live.
change is the answer. I feel like I just
change.
obviously I was very privileged / lucky to have landed this job and have the opportunities and the ability to do
But
that.
I feel like even if you didn't get this job, you would have come this way.
Yeah, I
anyway.
would have. It was inevitable that it was happening. But I think that was just, it helped me a lot because I would go into like, slight context here is that I would drive to the car park at Main Break, and when we were going through all of this, and I haven't seen people in about 3 months since my last work. And, they're like, one down your window, haven't seen you in ages. What's going on with you and your relationship? And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, it's a small town vibe and everyone kind of feels like they know each other, and to some extent they do. But you just are like, I'm done with the questions. And I think that's something that really pissed me off is like, look, I understand my life's in the limelight. People fucking, I have a profile. But at the same time, I find it pretty crazy. People just direct. Some people ask nicely, I will say that. Some people have DM'd me and it's actually been quite like, hey, I just wanted to check, is everything okay, blah, 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 blah. But some people blatantly like, oh, what happened to you? And like,
people
Jesus,
are brutal.
people have balls. And I'm like,
nosy.
so, but it also like, obviously we
All right,
asked you guys.
You can come check out the podcast, then you'll find it out already.
Yeah, but obviously, it's just an interesting thing that people obviously feel to some extent that they have a right, and anyway, so that I feel like that shift was big. I think the biggest identity change was just I've got a whole new life now. Like I'm a ranger.
Okay, and so would you say those things have been what has helped you like reclaim your sense of self as well?
Yes, yeah. So big change, and I've thrown myself into work and obviously stuff that I'm passionate about, which is my work, and more hosting roles and more commentating, more sports broadcasting. Like I just made that my mission. I became obsessed with exercise.
Have your views on marriage changed since getting divorced?
I feel that when everything originally went down, my thoughts were definitely different. And I was like, I don't ever want to
I'm
do
never
that.
getting fucking married again.
Yeah, I definitely thought that. And now that I've had lots of space between now and then, I don't want my past experiences of what happened to sort of dictate the future.
Or taint it.
And look, I'm sort of like, I'm obviously open to it, but I'm never fucking getting married like that again. One and done will be enough. If I ever get married again, it'll be something really small and weird and kooky and like fun, and I don't know. Like I'm open to it for sure, but it's not the big hoo-ha. It's not a big hoo-ha.
Hey, you can have 3 weddings like me.
3 little weddings.
Oh, you can have 4. What would you say this taught you the most about yourself? This situation, this love or a lesson has taught you the most about yourself, and what are you most proud of? And
Most proud of, I think I touched on it before, just being financially in a position to feel comfortable to leave, to not staying in a toxic relationship too long. And then
what is it?
I think also I never, bit like I mentioned before, I've always gone from relationship to relationship. And I've always been searching for some sort of stability, whether that be, because I've always growing up looked at, we've had quite a bit of turmoil within the family, and I've looked at other people who have strong foundations within their family and always searching for that. And I thought when I got married that would be my foundation. But what I've realised is I am my foundation, and that I don't need something else to make me feel that. So I think, I have the ability to make myself feel the best I can. And at the end of the day, when everything's said and done, it will only just be me that can make me happy. And like, I feel that's been something that I've been really working on a lot. And even like the questions I ask myself now moving forward, if there was to ever be someone ever again, like, what would that look like, and how do I want to show? I don't know. I just feel like I've never asked myself, what do you really want in a partner? And that sounds really stupid to say, but I don't think I've ever done that. I think when I psychoanalyze myself and I look back at myself in relationships, I was anxiously attached to the point where I would get in these relationships and be like me, please like me, someone like me. And they would like me, and then I'd be like, oh, thank God, they like me. And then I would never actually ask myself the question of, do you actually like them? Do they align with your core values? Do they have similarities? Like, yeah, some similarities. But I was never asking those deep questions, and now I've really nutted that out to if there ever was someone that they would need to fulfill these things. And I think like that's in the future, but like just for me, like I've done a lot of growing in that sense.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, and that is, I feel like it's so true. Like when you get to spend that time alone and sit with yourself, as uncomfortable as that is, you know, that's where you like learn the most about yourself, like in the depths of like that sort of like despair. And you know, you've had moments where, you know, you've moved into this 1-bedroom apartment. Before Kiara was here, you were like, I'm a bit lonely. And there's days where you have felt fucking lonely.
Yeah.
But they're the days where I know that you're sitting there going like, I'm putting me first, and I've got to sit in this uncomfortable place. And then, you know, when you eventually find that man of your dreams, it's just going to be so healthy.
Touching on that, the lonely aspect, I don't think I've ever felt more lonely in my life. And I get an understanding now of what other people are saying when they go to family Christmas events, when they go to birthday parties, when they go to, you know, these events in life. And I've always been someone who's rocking up with a partner, and like everyone else in my family has partners, and I was rocking up solo. And that was like a pretty whoa feeling. And that made me really realize like, oh, you are in this, just it's only you. And like, I think it's been so good though, because I've been able to build myself up into a point where I'm really happy with myself, and then hopefully I'm going to attract the right person. I just think it's been the best.
Absolutely. Amen, you will.
It's been the like not a failure, but the best lesson and gift that ever could have happened to me, because I feel like I've grown so much through it.
Yeah. So what are the things you look for in a partner now?
I've got a list.
You got a list? Oh my gosh.
So I've got a list of non-negotiables.
Wow.
Right. So.
All right, boys, listen up.
Listen up, boys. No. So this is the list. I wrote this ages ago.
Any bachelors out there? Hey, did you get you bachelorette?
Oh my God.
No.
So I wrote this when, I don't even know. I wrote this a long time ago, probably over 8 months ago. Anyway, so on the list, first, same core values. I can't have someone who ethically, morally, obviously doesn't align. Energetic. I need someone who's like ready to go, adventurous, just like fun and upbeat. Funny, stable foundation, family orientated, good work ethic. I won't read the next one. Adventurous.
What is it? Hang on. Fucking, where is it? I need to see.
Hang on.
What was the next one? No, I can't go in there.
Really cruisy with friends and family coming, and this is specific, but coming and staying at our place, because I'm such a person of, I love people coming and staying, stay here, stay on the couch, stay in my bed, I don't care, whatever. Like, I just want the you know, obviously with consideration.
You're the hostess with the mostess.
Consideration to obviously your partner and like, you know, what we're doing work-wise and blah, blah, blah. But I just like that family aspect. That's what I've grown up with, and I just need that matched in my relationship. Just like, you know, I just like that. Good communicator, someone who respects me, someone who supports my career, someone who cares about their health, follows through on commitments, and I'm not going to read the last one either. But there you go, folks. That's what I'm looking for.
Not PG things. Jesus.
Well, you've got to put it out into the universe, Laura. Exactly what you're looking for.
I love that. No, absolutely.
So
Flick.
anyone, get into it. Write down those non-negotiables and make sure you're looking at them and you're not just getting down the garden path with some absolute flog.
we talked about, you know, what you learned and what you've learned about yourself, and just knowing that, you know, you can find this strength inside you to overcome this. But is there anything out there that you would say to any other girl that's going through the same thing, or is in an unhappy relationship that's trying to leave, or?
I would say you can do it. Obviously, I think it seems like the most difficult, heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching thing you're going to do, and you're not ever going to be okay ever again. But I'm future you in 6 months, a year, telling you it does get better. And people told me that, and I was like, no, it doesn't. I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it does. It gets
worse before it gets better.
But, you know, even from, you know, physically, financially, logistically, everything, like you can make it work. I think just surround yourself with really good support, whether that, if you hopefully you have close friends and family that you can lean on in this. But if you don't, go and talk to someone who's in neutral ground, go and talk to a therapist who's going to provide great information. And then obviously the basics: hydration, nutrition, movement, get amongst it. Obviously my situation, I feel I haven't had kids. And I feel that there might be some people listening that are in a relationship that are obviously got kids with their partner or their husband, and they're wanting to leave that relationship. And I am totally aware that that would be 20 billion times harder than what I've had to go through. I can imagine, but I can't really, because I've never had it. I obviously don't have a kid. I don't know what that feels like to have that sort of emotional pull and, you know, this lifelong investment with someone else. So, obviously I'm being very candid in how I'm talking about this, and obviously it's been quite a while, but I'm just not trying to minimise the fact that it would be so much harder for someone with kids.
Yeah. This question could land or it might not land. So is there anything that you look back on in the split, and is there things that you wish you did say and things that you wish you hadn't said?
I said everything I needed to say. There is not one part of me that left anything on the table. And I feel very satisfied with that. And I feel satisfied with how I went about it. And I feel satisfied, I really feel satisfied with all of it. And obviously I'm not upset about it not working anymore, but, you know, it's unfortunate, but it was for the best.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so proud of you, darling.
Thank you,
Onwards and upwards. You are amazing, and I feel like, yeah, so many people out there will have just been following your journey, and always love you and proud of you.
Oh, thanks, sis.
Cheers to the next.
Yeah. Whatever's on the horizon.
Whatever's on the horizon.
There's plenty more fish in the sea.
Plenty more sea in the fish.
Oh, shit.
That was should we all take a breath? How does it feel getting that out there off your chest?
It feels good because I feel like I've been bloody badgered about it so much. And I understand I live a life that is in the media, I've got a profile, social media, all of the lot. But I've just felt like I have been bamboozled with questions, like even people out on the street asking me these sort of things, and people who I don't even know. So it just feels like, hey, if you want to know, take a listen. But no, it's just
I kind of feel like a relief to put it out there now, and everyone can come along for the ride and see what happens next, where you go, what you do,
what's on the horizon
who you do.
For Flicky Bean. Okay, guys, thanks so much for listening, and thanks so much for everyone sending in questions that were pretty specific. I hope that I covered them the best that we could. I think now we are going to ask you guys to send in some questions for our next episode. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a good one. And it is the motherhood question. So basically balancing the career and family, and sort of what is our thoughts on that. Obviously, Laura, you're recently married now, and juggling that as athletes, our careers, what's next? So
huge question.
send in any questions regarding that you may have.
Huge topic, huge. And we've actually got some amazing guests that are going to be jumping on that one. So, yes, send in your questions, anything relating to motherhood, career and juggling it all. And, some of the most inspiring people in my life are my friends that are mums. And, whether they're hardworking mums, stay-at-home mums, they're just the fucking best. And, it's going to be a big topic.
Let's go. Bye, guys.
Cheers, Dolly. Should we go have a...
Oh, that's it.
Should we go have a margarita after that?
Bye.
Drink of choice during the divorce.
Maggie.
Should we go have one?
Yeah, let's go. Bye.
Okay.